Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Cape Rugby TV. It's a Wednesday night and we bring you the very best of what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. As you know, it's of course currently the Score Western Province Club Rugby. It's been rolling out for the last few weeks at CPUT. Lots of excitement as we expect with Sevens Rugby. A lot of action coming up tonight, and of course this weekend it is the final day. We'll talk more about that in a second or so. Let me introduce you to my panel this evening. Jerome Parwater, back again.
Yeah, JP, we thought it won't come to this time of the year where it's the end. So it's the end of the seven, so it's almost like the end of club rugby.
Well, I don't know about that. I've got Faisal Felton with us. Faisal, welcome back.
Good evening, JP. It's good to be here.
Let's just go quickly to what Jerome says. End of club rugby. Club rugby doesn't end.
No, definitely. I think there's always something to do. I think it's the last couple of weeks and that you've seen the guys turn out in numbers. The guys are passionate. I think the clubs, at the moment, from Jerome's side is from the union side. I think we've sort of, the Sevens is our last sort of event for the year. Yeah. But I think from club side, the season goes on.
Well, I've been looking at social media and it's been quite interesting seeing just how many clubs are posting things like it's their end of year functions, they're having AGMs, and also notably how many clubs have posted that their pre-season has started.
Yeah. Japes, I think, from when I started way back,
in your
pre-season. Way back, 20, your season ended in September and everything was shut down as far as club rugby is concerned. I think we're now middle of November and we're still busy with club rugby, and we've basically got 3 more weeks, and then it's December, Christmas. So in the next 3 weeks, I think a lot of the clubs will be starting with their off-season, AGMs happening. Some of the prize giving and that is taking place now after the Sevens as well.
Jerome, we've been looking at the quality of club rugby. It's been getting stronger and stronger and better and better. I mean, Super League A is tight, Super League B is tight. All the leagues are tight. As Faisal was saying, a few years ago, people would just come back to training in February and start playing a month or two, and quickly those top clubs started realizing, and I suppose also a little bit with the science of sport today and the education from a Western Province point of view, clubs have started to realize that pre-season training has to start 2-3 months in advance before you go, or call it even off-season training before you go into your friendlies, which are likely to start in February already.
Yeah, you have to start with that, JP. But what I was saying earlier on is it's just good for the guys to take a break, because you need, except end of year functions in meetings, that must go on. The club must still function, but I think the players need a break, because they need 2 to 3 weeks break from rugby totally, come back fresh, and then start all over. That's just human. That's just how it is. So I don't say that clubs must function, clubs must stop, but they must stop. If you take the Springboks now playing in this test games, spoken to Robbie Fleck, that Springboks are only coming back in January. Because they need to get a break. You need to get a break from rugby. You need to get away. It's the same with people working. You need to take a break. 2 weeks, take a break. Get your mind off your job or anything that you do. Come back afresh, because you don't want to start. If you start your pre-season, you need to start. If you start your pre-season, what happened with a lot of clubs, because they continue going on. These guys are playing sevens now. They don't stop. Then the coach comes. There's 5 or 6 players. So you need to say, this is now, I'm giving you 2 weeks off, or 3 weeks off.
Most of the clubs have already had a month off since the last game in the league.
Yeah, but a lot of their players are still playing in the sevens. And every week, if you look at the sevens, every week the club almost, which is good, there's different faces that you see playing Saturday, because it's not the same guys. Some clubs have the same guys, but a lot of clubs vary their players.
But surely the important thing here is to understand the difference between off-season training and pre-season training, because there's no such thing as giving a too much long break from a sports science point of view. You've got to still stay in the gym. You've got to keep the muscles conditioned. You can maybe take a week or 2 off, but after that you start losing muscle mass. Your muscles start breaking down. You've got to stay active in the gym. You've got to keep your cardiovascular system up to a certain level.
Yeah, but that's what I say. You need 2 weeks away from rugby, totally away from rugby. Then you come back and you get that players. You get players that can't sit. They will go to the gym on their own. But as soon as, I've realized over the years now, as soon as you try to force people to do things, they won't do it. They would rather take a break for 2 weeks, go do things on your own,
Other
whatever
clubs-
you want. Some clubs give them off-season programs.
I was about to ask
jump
that.
programs,
Faisal,
and then they come back.
do the clubs are they working already on maybe at the club getting a gym program, and they give them the program and they say, okay, off you go, we'll see you in 2 or 3 weeks time, but here's the kind of stuff we want you to do at home. And are the clubs moving in that direction?
No, I think a lot of the clubs they've realized if they want to be competitive, I think if you look at the leagues this year, it was exciting, I think down to the bone. A lot of the clubs realized that off-season, I think what Jerome mentioned is also, important as a team, as a club, giving the guys a break. But I think the individuals are still training, they're still in the gym and that, as you said earlier on that. I think there is no stopping. It's how you manage
and
your
you've
time.
of course got do you still have the zone gym membership for the club players? Is that, I
Yes.
suppose...
It's sort of limited.
Putting you on the spot.
Putting me on the spot there a bit.
Right.
But I mean, on that Zone Fitness, I think Zone Fitness have been, a very
And that's a good example.
crucial. They've been very helpful in terms of helping and assisting the clubs in that. I think again, it's up to the clubs to make use of that, that opportunity and offer that the union.
So whether you've got a gym member, it doesn't matter where your gym membership is. You probably you need to try and possibly getting a program from your club and doing that in your spare time.
Yeah, well, I think Jerome will also tell you that from his side, he does distribute to the clubs. A lot of them have contacted the union's office asking for programs and that there. So I think any sort of program is better than nothing. I think the mindset or the idea is that the guys are out there and actually in the gym and training and that.
Well, folks, like we said, a lot of clubs at the moment busy with we'll call this opening squad sessions or pre-season training, off-season training, but they're certainly getting back on the field. And as we mentioned earlier on, AGMs and end-of-year functions and prize givings. So tonight we're going to take a look at the Sevens, of course. This weekend is going to be the wrap. After 3 weeks of Sevens rugby at CPUT, we now know who the top 16 teams are. That's, of course, the top 4 in Pool A, B, C, and D. Teams we're looking at this weekend, tonight at least, Tygerberg and Young Peoples in Pool A, SK Warmers and Noordlikers. In Pool B, we've got Hamilton's Villagers, Busy Bees and All Saints, Belleville, Kylemore, Scottsdene and Hamlets. They played in Pool C, and then NTK and Elsie's River, as well as a couple of interesting interviews. Elsie's River captain Alfonso Julius, we're joined by him. Hamlet's coach Glenn Martinez, and Labib Levy and Western Province Rugby Football Union General Manager Danny Jones. So a lot of interviews and a lot of games, but before we get into those fixture games, let's take a look at some of the highlights from the Score Western Province Club Rugby Sevens held at CPUT over the weekend. Welcome back, everybody. A lot of fun and action. Faisal, the Score, Western Province Club Rugby 7, what are we now in the 4th year? Sevens action, Sevens rugby, still entertainment. Can't beat it.
No, definitely, JP. I think it's growing, and you can see in size, and a lot of the clubs have really taken into the Sevens. They might not be competitive, but I think best dressed, a lot of them have taken, that prize and that there. So
have you seen some interesting dressed folks there?
No, definitely. I mean, there's some of the clubs I've seen, the SK, Collegians, those guys and that there that have gone out of their way, to
make a team.
Yeah. So I think that's what it's about. It's more the gears, more the participation than actually the winning in that there. A lot of the clubs, I mean, young ideas, joke.
Interesting though. Jerome will attest to this. Over the last few weeks, we've looked at some of the former profile players that are involved. Paul Delport, current coach of the Springbok Sevens ladies team, Morgan Newman. He's coaching a seven-side at Hamilton. He's a former Western Orange player, Stormers player. Cornell Hendricks, we spoke about him. Yeah. I mean, you've got some big names. Zaire Rylands, Kakalaki is involved there. I mean, it looks like there's another coaching stream coming to support the Sevens as well.
No, definitely, Japes. I think Sevens is a nice opportunity for up-and-coming coaches as well from the other teams to give them an opportunity. But at the same time, with coaches, it's also an opportunity for the younger players. I think a lot of the clubs have given the younger players an opportunity as well, you know, to participate in that.
Yeah.
So I think in time to come, there's a lot of future up-and-coming coaches and stars that will be coming through.
Right, welcome, folks. For those of you that have just joined us, it's Cape Rugby TV. We're going to focus on what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. We're going to take a look after the break at Tygerberg, starting off with Tygerberg up against Young People's. We'll then show you the top 16, who ended in the top 16 over the last 3 weeks. Springbok Atlas is, of course, on board with Cape Rugby TV. And for those of you that need to book your bus transport, if you're either going away on a team building session or going to a match or going to the Sevens, and Springbok Atlas has got a transport solution for you. To make your booking, all you need to do is contact Rashad Luki on 506-2572. 506-2572. They've got safe bus transport. Their rates are negotiable, and they've got a lot of different size vehicles. So Springbok Atlas can make a bus booking for you. So all you need to do is contact Rashad Luki on 021-506-2572. We'll take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we'll kick off with Tygerberg as one of our first fixtures, and they're, of course, up against Young People's. Welcome back, everybody. It's Cape Rugby TV, and we bring you the very best of what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. Right, our first game of the week then. Tygerberg were up against Young People's in Pool A. These were, of course, the elimination rounds that had to work out who the top 16 are that are playing this coming Saturday at CPUT. Welcome back, everybody. It's Tygerberg up against Young People's, and it ended up being a win there for Tygerberg, 29 points to 7. We'll take a look at some of the other results that Tygerberg came away with there, but Tygerberg then ended up first on the log. Jerome, your technical thoughts on Tygerberg Young People's match?
Yeah, I just think that Tygerberg guys are a bit too strong, bit bigger than the Young People's guys. Young People's are good with ball in hand, but if Tygerberg have the ball, then they still need to defend. You could see a couple of times guys just run through the tackle, so you still need to tackle in sevens also.
Yeah. Faisal, Tygerberg now end up first in the log. They had other results there with the win over Santa Cruz. They beat Caledonia Roses 49-7. They beat Blake's 28-7. Just in terms of the seven structure, they ended up in first place. Young People's end up in third place on the log, so it's 1 and 3. Who goes through on Saturday?
Well, the top 4 teams in each of the pools will go through. So 1 to 4 in pool A, B, C, and D will go through.
Right. And then give us the rundown after that. I mean, so now you have your top 16 teams who are playing on Saturday. They play against each other in what format?
So what happens, JP? So the teams that ended in top position, number 1, will basically be that will be your top seeds from A1, A2, A3, A4. They will be seeded accordingly, and that they're from 1 to 16.
Okay. And
then from that, they'll be placed into pools. So eventually you'll have number 1 playing number 16 for the first week, 2 playing 15, 3 playing things. So
right.
We've tried to mix everything according to...
So it's a knockout phase. It's not a plate, cup, shield.
Yeah, so what happens is the first week, all 16 teams will participate, they will play. The losers will then go into the bowl and the shield, and the winners will play in the cup and the plate section.
So you still end up with a plate winner and a shield winner,
yeah,
and a cup winner and so forth.
Yeah. So each team will be guaranteed of playing at least 3 matches on Saturday.
Right, folks, of course, there you have it, your top 16 going through, and we end up with the Cup, Plate, Shield, and finals. Right, our next game on the cards, SK Warmers up against Noordlikkers, and we managed to catch up with Labib Levy.
No, it was a good day. Lots of talent out there. Nice and hot with a crosswind coming up. There's some nice individual talent and good effort by all the teams. I think today, guys, obviously they were consolidating their log points, and they'll come out strong next week. Next week they'll be harder, stronger, good planning. They'll come with full strength because it's obviously knockout. And I'm sure we'll have some good sevens out there next week.
All right, there, one of our favorites and locals here, Labib Levy, has been instrumental with the coaching courses at Western Province Rugby. But SK Warmers, of course, were up against Noordlikkers there in Pool A. SK winning 35 points to 7 over Noordlikkers eventually, and they ended up 4th on the log, so SK is going through. Noordlikkers didn't make it, though. Noordlikkers ended on 7s. They're not going to be going through there. But SK also walking away with some good results and jumping from 6th place up to 4th place in Pool A. Jerome, just give us a quick rundown from a coaching perspective. Labib's coaching courses, that's been quite active.
Yeah, there's been a few. This year. I think there's still one more. Then it's wrap up. So it's been quite busy, and I myself am doing coaching assessments. I go out and assess the coaches who did the level 2
So do you go check that Labib did a good job?
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I just go because coaches need to be assessed to go to get their level 2
You know you're going to get a phone
certificate.
call after the show.
No, Labib is in charge of that whole thing, but I'm just I just go out and do the assessment of the coaches. So we're quite busy. Last week I've been at the school president Brandt last Wednesday to assess the coach.
Yeah.
So in saying what we were saying earlier on, JP, like for us, rugby don't stop.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Faisal, SK Warmers, I believe it's their first year in the sevens. They've come out and shown already that they can play sevens rugby.
No, definitely. It's nice to actually see them finally after 4 years participating in the sevens. I think you can see they've missed out, and they really
jumped on it. I mean, they embraced it. Yeah, we brought out Paul Delport, and they've got Kit, and they're talking like a whole fan gees and everything.
No, definitely, Japes. You must commend them in terms of, I think, also the hard work and training, and the guys have been pre-season. As soon as the season finished, they were looking for fields to get into the training and that.
All right, folks, let's move on now. Let's take a look now at the match between Hamiltons and Villagers in Pool B. So it was Hamilton's beating Villagers then 19 points to 14 in Pool B. They ended up second on the log, and they of course also went on to draw with Brackenfell, but still managed to keep that position second on the log. Then Villagers fourth on the log. Villagers beating Goodwood 21-14 and going down to Brackenfell 19 points to 17, but still enough to make sure that they secure that top 4 position to go through to the top 16. Folks, MChem 24 Hours Pharmacy is of course on board with Cape Rugby TV. Now MChem has just completely revamped the pharmacy. In fact, if you go out there this week, they're busy with many of the activities. I know that last week they had a shave-a-thon there, and MChem 24 Hour Pharmacy's got a whole lot of activities this week. Lots of entertainment and fun there at the pharmacy. Go take a look. Free parking there and all sorts of pharmaceutical needs. Everything that you need, you can get at MChem 24 Hour Pharmacy. Best prices, best service, and really is fantastic to be up there. There's a nice coffee shop upstairs, so you have absolutely no excuse if you need a pharmacy. MChem 24 Hour Pharmacy on the corner of Durban and Road and the N1. We'll take an ad break, and when we come back from the break, we'll take a look at what happened in the match between Busy Bees and All Saints, as well as a few of the other fixtures. Welcome back, everybody. Cape Rugby TV. Remember, you can find us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV. It is currently the Score Western Province Club Rugby Sevens happening at CPUT. Lots of excitement. And of course, if you want to win yourself a case of Score energy drinks, then you'll have an opportunity to do that in a minute or so. So make sure you keep your mobile phones handy. 33090 is, of course, the number. Score is on board with Western Province Club Rugby and the Sevens, as well as many other teams. And as I mentioned before, and as we've been speaking about for the last few weeks, and you would have seen it at the launch, Score has provided jerseys for every single player at the Score Western Province 7. So, Faisal, this is kind of unique. I mean, we've spoken about this past as well. You've got 44 teams, which means you've got just over 900 players playing in the Sevens. Danny has said that this is possibly the biggest Sevens rugby tournament in the world. But surely it has to be the only tournament of its kind in the world where every single player gets his own jersey.
No, definitely, JP. I think, it's not only the biggest tournament. I think it's the biggest. What we forget is it's the Sevens League. It's taking place over 4 weeks and that. And I think next year our goal is to have even more teams than that there. So, I think with club rugby and, you've shown the strength of club rugby in Western Province and that there and the support and that there, the numbers, it's just growing.
But this year you've also taken the jersey concept a step further. You're not only making it for the Sevens jerseys, I believe Score's also bolstered this by adding a few more jerseys on so that possibly use it for 15s.
No, we're grateful for Score. I think, the involvement in terms of the support that we get from him is phenomenal. And I think, Uncle John has now come on board and he's even gone a step further and given the clubs opportunity, to get extra jerseys which they can use for 15s.
Yeah.
So, clubs are struggling. Wherever they can save, this opportunity, will be open with both hands.
And I must just say, from a Cape Rugby TV point of view, we see the Cape Rugby logo on the jersey, and we're, of course, your broadcast partner. This is the first year that we've had that sort of exposure, that we're getting a little bit of co-branding there, so that's been fantastic.
No, definitely, JP. I think, the season of Sevens is obviously participation with clubs, but also the suppliers and the people that help us. We would like a lot more suppliers to come on board. Yeah. It's a nice opportunity for them to be, at a venue where all your clubs are going to be playing. I think, with Score on board, we've just gone from strength to strength. I think from when they started and where they are now, each year, they're coming on a lot more in terms of support and helping in that. And I think one of the biggest reasons or the decisions that we took this year was moving the event from Goodwood to CPUT. The major reason, I think it's had the sort of ups and downs of people that like Goodwood and the people that like CPUT, but I think from our side the reason for moving more towards CPUT was the idea of growing the amount of teams.
Well, I was going to touch on that now, because I mean the nice thing about Sevens and entertainment and the fact that you've got so much space there is that you can never have enough entertainment, and you can keep adding on. So if you have sponsors who come on board and they say they want to put up a movie screen, they could do that. You can do bring in brides and poiki course competitions and fancy dress, and I mean the list of entertainment activities that you can come up with is endless.
No, definitely, JP. The space is there. I think, when people come there is space for every single team. We were a bit restricted at Goodwood in terms of the amount of space that we had, but at CPUT, you've got guys each finding their own tree, and as a sponsor, there's too much space actually in terms of trying to activate. I think one of our sort of challenges that we're going to look at next year is getting the Gears going, sort of a beer garden. Somewhere where the guys can congregate and create a bit of vibe and atmosphere.
Is there any thought around having a pre-league season Sevens?
We are looking sort of at a Sevens tournament, sort of a once-off tournament pre-season, just to get the guys together. I think from the union side, it's not so much. It's more the participation and getting the clubs. I think one of the successes is having all clubs playing at the central venue, and that social aspect of the guys in the lower leagues playing with the guys in the top league, and that sort of communication and interaction is, I think, is key.
Yeah, right, folks. Let's catch up now with our next game. This is, of course, Bellville up against Carlamore. Bellville went to 28 points to 12 up over Carlamore. They ended up third in the log, and as you know, of course, Bellville, previous Score Sevens champions. Carlamore didn't make it. They ended on fifth, but let's take a look at the match. Bellville 28-12 over Carlamore. All right, then of course it was a win for Belleville, 28-12 over Kylemore. Belleville go through to the next game. Now time for us to move on to Pool B. We stay with Pool B. Busy Bees up against All Saints.
Well, firstly from the weather side, the weather's playing greatly with us with this nice summer's day and that, and a slight breeze now. The rugby just as hot as the weather, and we're very proud of our Score Sevens event. It's now become a fixture on our calendar. It's the only event that carries 44 clubs over a 4-week period, it's unique. And I think we are certainly the brand ambassadors for Sevens. Look, Sevens is in the blood of Western Province, of most Western Province players. And these players from the communities from all over, they're here to display their skills. We're privileged and we're blessed with the amount of skills and that the players display. There's no doubt about it. We are looking forward to the finals. I'm sure the players are also looking to the finals. It's been quite hard because everyone is trying to get into next week's games, and that's why the standard is so high.
Danny Jones, the General Manager of Western Province Rugby. Nice to see Danny out at the Sevens there, having a lot of fun. Score is, of course, as you know, the official sponsor to the Score Western Province Club Rugby Sevens. Score behind me right now. Score in front of me right now. You want to win yourself a case of Score energy drinks. 33090, 33090 is the number that you need to SMS. Just pick up your mobile phone and SMS the word SCORE to 33090. Congratulations to last week's winner, Gavin Manuel. Gavin, somebody from Cape Rugby TV is going to be in touch with you shortly, and you will walk away with a case of Score energy drinks. We'll be back after the break.
One of our greatest assets are our fans, the faithful, and we really wanted to create something unique, something world-class, a supporter club that engaged and interacted with all our fans, not only within the Western Cape, but regionally, nationally, and in fact internationally. We have the best fans in the world, and we believe we put together the most amazing, unique, and innovative supporter program. And we call on you to stand together with us. Are you one of the faithful?
Welcome back, everybody. It's Cape Rugby TV, and of course, as you know, we're currently focusing around the Sevens tournament. Cape Rugby TV, though, continues for the entire year. We don't stop, and we continue to focus on what's happening at the clubs. A lot of clubs busy with AGMs. Some of the clubs already started their pre-season, but of course over the next few weeks we will be bringing in the DHL Stormers and DHL Western Province Rugby players, and we'll be catching up with them at the HPC and find out what's happening in the pro section of rugby, actual Western Province professional rugby. We'll be speaking to the senior players on a regular basis. So every time you tune into Cape Rugby TV, you'll find out more about what the guys are busy doing. The guys that you normally see on the big screen at Newlands that are playing in the Super Rugby tournaments as well as in the Currie Cup tournament. So that's going to be very exciting when we start focusing now on senior Western Province rugby as well. Scottsdene was up against Hamlets at the score, Western Province Club Rugby 7s. Let's take a look at the results there. So Hamlet's walking away there with a win, 34-7 over Scottsdene. Scottsdene ending at number 4 on the log, and they're going through then to play in the top 16. Scottsdene also, they went down to Western Zebras, 26-12. They managed to walk away with wins over Police, 49-14, and a 49-0 win over Lamotte. Hamlet's, on the other hand, ended first on the log. And of course beat Police 40-5, and the big win for Hamlets 41-0 over Legion's Jerome. Hamlets and Scottsdene for that matter, both dangerous sides, but these guys can play sevens.
Yeah, they are up for sevens, and we know how the Hamlets play for long now. They play like they play sevens, 15s, so they're good with that. And Scottsdene also, the guys are known for their sevens rugby, and they like the open field. So yeah, both of them are known for passing the ball and playing into space.
Do you think our leagues outside of Super League A are better at sevens rugby? Is that an unfair thing to say?
It might be, JP, because it's faster guys.
Yeah.
It's guys who's not looking for contact. They're not made for contact, which is good. So I would say like the lower leagues guys, because they're faster guys, and they need to identify space, which they're good at because they're not big enough to run through guys.
Sevens rugby has become a big thing in world rugby now. Of course, we know what happens with 15 men's rugby, and we know what happens in Western Province rugby from a 15s point of view. You've got different leagues and everybody plays 15s rugby, but now sevens rugby is on the map. Are we able to, and we've got a sevens Western Province rugby side, are we able in a position yet to start having a talent identification like you have with 15s? Are we in a position to have a talent identification process for sevens rugby?
We had that in the past, JP. Unfortunately, SA Rugby stopped that sevens, amateur sevens tournament, which were every year at the end of the year, which we had, and Ricky Peterson was for long the coach of that. Yeah. So we had a great team, and we were always in the finals, playing in the sevens. So for many years we had it. It's unfortunately SA Rugby just stopped that competition.
Oh, that's a real pity. All right, that's unfortunately, folks. Well, anyway, let's move on. Let's catch up now with the coach of Hamlet's, Glenn Martinez, and we'll take an ad break. And when we come back from the break, we'll take a look at what happened between NTK and Elsie Srafir, as well as take a look at where the teams ended up on the logs.
Ja, die eerste wedstrijd in Wendenburg is afgekomen. So dit was onze eerste game die ons zien. So die mannen was ook heel lekker gejaagd, maar so die tweede jaar toe kom het mooi die goeie win, bonus point, so onze 10 voor die dag zover. Ja, die boys doen goed, die boys doen redelijk goed, want ons het nog nooit verloren nie. So ons zover alles games gewen elke week. Dus wel 2 draws weg, wat een beetje moeilijk was, maar ik zie vandaag zijn dingen weer spannend wat ons boos was, weer verloren, Kuilmo en Biavel, so is dan goed voor onze kant. Die boys lekker recht, die boys, kijk eens, nou lachte spannetje, of een jong spannetje, lekker zo stel. Meestal onder 20's, 3 van die senior mannen wat in die span is, maar die mannetjes hebben honger voor haar. Ja, collisions gaat daar wees, want collisions is bij direct, maar dat is weer strijd, gewoon hou van die confrontatie. So ons sal so moet ken die hulle polisie is meer soos ons, of van die bal wyd gooi, so die manne is reg vir die ding.
One of our greatest assets are our fans, the faithful, and we really wanted to create something unique, something world-class, a supporter club that engaged and interacted with all our fans, not only within the Western Cape, but regionally, nationally, and in fact internationally. We have the best fans in the world, and we believe we put together the most amazing, unique and innovative supporter program. And we call on you to stand together with us. Are you one of the faithful?
Welcome back, folks. Right, Elsie Srafir were up against NTK. Elsie's has had a pretty good season so far in the sevens. They ended up third on the log. Alice Michaels was very happy. We saw a lot of posts saying that Elsie's had such success. Third on the log. They were, of course, first on the log last week. Dropped down a little bit, where Elsie's ended fourth on the log. They were third on the log last week. NTK ended up on third on the log. Let's take a look at the results between the match highlights between Elsie Srafir and NTK.
Op die oomblik die vibe tussen die ouens is lekker nice, die atmosfeer is lekker, ons het 'n goeie support struktuur van die klub Elsies en die coaching staff en almal support net mekaar basically ja, so is lekker positief waar by die manne. Yes, as die ouens voel bly, regtig waar, die ouens is so span gespeel en ons self gesê, as ons kan nie net die klein spannetjies wen nie, want ons is self 'n klein span. Ons moet try om die groot honde ook af te haal, nou met hulle groter as ons is om dat kan speel teen hulle ook. En die results het op die einde van die dag gewys, ons wen vir NTK wat top geleer het. Ja, ek sal nie sê 'n groot aanpassing nie, maar waar dit groot aanpassing was dit vir die youngsters wat in die span gekom was, om senior players gespeel het en ons het vir hulle basically geguide en gesê hoe moet ons maak en dis hoekom ons nou uit 10 games 8 games gewen het en net 2 verloor het vir 'n span wat almal miskien gedink het gaan nie haboele nie, maar weer eens wel dan vir Elsies. Ja, boys sien uit daarna, ons geniet challenges, ons staan nie weg vir challenges nie. En ons het self gesê ons gaan vir die cup en as ons vir die cup gaan, ja, gaan ons vir die next ding, die next best ding na daai sovoorts.
Right, so after 3 weeks of Score Western Province Club Rugby 7s, we now know that the pool stages have finished. Let's take a look at the top 4 at least. We'll take a look at the full logs of each of the pools. In Pool A, Tygerberg, False Bay, Young Peoples and SK Warmers go through. Kraaifontein, Blakes, Noordlikers, Young Standards, Young Ideas and Visante Kraal did not make the cut, but Pool A then with the top 4 there. In Pool B, we see that it was Brackenfell, Hamilton's, All Saints and Villages going through, and Busy Bees just missing out, as well as Kells River, Goodwood and Eersterrivier. Meanwhile, in Pool C, we see the top 4 going through there as Hamlet, St George's, Belleville, Scottsdene, Kylemore, Durbell, just missing the cut there, very close. And then Pool D, Belhar, Paarl, NTK and Elsie's Rivier. Faisal, just a final question here around the 7th. The last day that we saw, you potentially teams still on this past Saturday they had either 3 games in hand or 4 games in hand or still had to play, which means that if you took 5 points out of each game you could still put 20 points on the board. So up until the very last day the pools were all still wide open.
No, definitely, JP. I think every weekend and that they're obviously gathering the points, but the final week you still had a chance. I mean, we saw teams go from number 1 to number 4. Guys going from number 2 to 7.
So there's no skipping the day. The last day you had to be there to the very end.
No, I think it was important that you had to be there for all 4 weeks, and up until the final day you still had a chance.
Well, let's take a look at the fixtures now then for tomorrow, at least for Saturday. These are the top 16 now. Tygerberg up against Elsie's Rivier first, and then Paarl and Young Peoples, Brackenfell and Scottsdene, St George's and All Saints, Hamilton's and Belleville, Hamlets are up against Villages, False Bay and NTK, and Belhar and SK Warmers. So a lot of action there. Those are your top 16. They'll play through the knockout phases before they end up in the pool, the cup, the shield, and the plate sections. All right, folks, that is a wrap from us here. But before we go, we just want to pass on our condolences to the family and loved ones of Mr. Philip Abrams, of course, the president of Noordlikers, who sadly passed away. Jerome, Faisal, a big contributor to Western Province Club Rugby. Faisal, I mean, you probably worked with him on a regular basis. Mr. A, as he is known, of course, by his loved ones.
Yeah, no, Japes, I actually played for Northerns at the one stage of my life. And yeah, he was a very committed, hard-working, dedicated person, and that learnt a lot from him. I think Northerns is really sad and going to miss him a lot.
Jerome, I believe you also had quite a bit of dealings with Mr. A.
Yeah, from junior rugby on, JP, where he was quite involved with the juniors. Me playing for Belleville against Noordlikers. So he was almost like a father figure. He doesn't care who you play for. If you step out of line, he's the guy who discipline you and tell you you're wrong, and then you must just take it. But a true rugby man, and I think Noordlikers definitely gonna miss him, and I think the guys can just build on his legacy and his family. Surely, he was a great father, a great husband, family man also with his rugby. He was last week they said at the club he spent 80 to 85% of his time at the club, and then the rest with his family. But his wife knew where he was.
Yeah, folks, we're going to leave it at that. Our condolences then to the loved ones, the family and the friends, and of course the players at Noordlikers who lost a stalwart of Western Province Club Rugby, Mr. Philip Abrams, lovingly known by everybody as Mr. A. We'll see you on Saturday at the Western Province Club Rugby 7s. Have a fantastic rugby weekend. Bye-bye.